More changes to the game room. Oh boy, guys. Okay, so if you follow the channel, you know that upstairs I made a bunch of upgrades recently. Did some upgrades to the virtual pinball machine, to the game wall, all kinds of fun stuff. But in the back of my mind is like, okay, I love this upstairs game room's looking great, but the downstairs game room wasn't quite right. It was close, but there were a few things that were bothering me. One, it was too claustrophobic, too much stuff. So I wanted to kind of thin things out a little bit, but also I needed to make some changes to accommodate something that I wanted to fit down here, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I had to change quite a bit, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. It's much better in my opinion. And why don't we just get right into it, and I'll talk about some of the changes I made. And a lot of this stuff is subtle, and some of it's big. Okay, so I removed some posters and took down a few things just to kind of open the wall space up a little bit because, as I said, it was a little bit too claustrophobic down here. It's a small room, it was a little too cramped. I added some RGB lighting behind the Neo Geo cab, and I got this dragon topper to go up there, and that kind of that fire light there, which I think is really cool. And I've got the cool kind of synthwave wallpapers and the RGB lights. I added a lot of RGB lighting. I already had quite a bit, but I added even more. And I just kind of cleaned up. There's less stuff on the ground, cleaned things up, and I'm really happy with that. But okay, what was the reasoning behind making all these big changes? So I've had that virtual pinball machine upstairs for quite a while, and I love it. I talk about it all the time on the channel. But one of the things that having that virtual pinball machine has done over the last 3 or so years has really ignited a passion for pinball. And I've been going and playing pinball locally. I've even considered joining a league potentially. And I absolutely love pinball. So much so that I want an actual pinball machine in the collection. Now I have an old Bally Fireball Home Edition in the garage, but that's a very kind of inexpensive starter pinball machine. There's not much to it, and it's not in the greatest shape. So it's cool, but it lives out in the garage, and it's not quite what I'm thinking. I want something probably new, and I've got it narrowed down quite a bit, but I want it to be inside. And the only spot that I could conceive to put a pinball machine in the house was in here, in the Dragon's Lair, downstairs game room. And to do that, I had to make quite a few changes. And I'm not panning left or right now because I want to share those changes with you in a second. But first, I can show you this. I took this rotating shelf here, and now I have all my, well, not all, but a bunch of my consoles displayed on here. And I think that turned out really well. And it works out good because I've got my controller tower there. I got my consoles there, and then of course my CRT, my retro streaming setup right here. So it's real easy for me when I'm streaming retro consoles and original hardware that I can just hook up whatever console I want. And yeah, it worked out really good. Okay, but to get a pinball machine down here, I had to make some sacrifices, and one of which is everything along this wall had to go. So what I did is that theater chair I had in here was one of the big reasons why it felt a little too cramped in here. That I now switched out with the recliner that I have in the living room, and it lives out there. So I'm still using it because it's a great chair. It was an expensive chair, and I'm glad to have it, a good home for it. But it's no longer in here. And Miguel, what are you barking at, Miguel? Miguel, what you doing? Come on. Come hang out with the people. Get in here. You crazy dog. What you barking at, dude? Yeah, now you're happy. Okay, good. So, recliner chair, gone. All that stuff on that wall, except for the alien figures, of course, up there, is gone. And I needed to be able to consolidate all that stuff into one spot because this is where the pinball machine is going to go. Now, I think it's going to be a perfect spot. I've got plenty of room. I've got the Neo Geo cab there. I've got the Dragons there and the Mortal Kombat 2 cab there, which I was thinking about getting rid of, but now I've realized actually those work really well on that wall. I'm going to keep those there. And then I've got it narrowed down to a few pinball machines. Now, I don't know when this is going to happen. New pinball machines, guys, I'm sure a lot of you know this, are incredibly expensive. So I've got narrowed down to a Godzilla Premium, possibly. I really like the new James Bond table from Stern. Their American Pinball makes a Houdini table that I absolutely love, and I'm a big fan of that theme because I've always enjoyed Magic, and Houdini is super cool. So that's on the list. There's there's a Aliens from Pinball Brothers. There's an Aliens pinball machine that would be kind of really perfect right there. So there's some options. I'm not sure which one I'm going to get yet, but when I do, it'll live here in the game room, which I think is going to be a perfect spot that I can play it and be comfortable. And also down here, I can make a little more noise late at night and not wake people up. So that's kind of ideal because yeah, you want to play your pinball machines nice and loud. Okay, and then I put the lightsaber on the wall there, and I've got some, a lot of the stuff I've been able to kind of thin out, which is great. I put my little star projector right here, which is really nice. I'll turn all the lights, like I have the lights on right now just so you guys can see what's going on. Before I end the video, I'll kind of put it into the normal mode that I would have with all the RGBs and stuff. Okay, so I had to make the biggest changes over here. There it is. Okay, look at that. New shelf. So my entertainment center used to be here with the consoles, and the consoles are now over here. The TV, the 70-inch 4K TV, that was the big sacrifice I had to make. That is, but it's not really a sacrifice because all I did is put it in the living room. I had a 60-inch TV in the living room. Now I have a 70-inch 4K TV in the living room. So it works out, and I moved the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and the Nintendo Switch, and the PSVR out into the living room. And actually that works better on kind of every level because I can be a little bit more comfortable on my couch and game. And I've already started playing Uncharted 4 finally on the PS5 and really loving that. So it's a better solution, really. And now everything that I had all along the wall behind me is now on this shelf. So I've got my Fallout stuff, all my Alien stuff, the Nintendo Switch games, the GameCube games, various knickknacks, my Neo Geo games, all that stuff lives on the shelf. And I have RGB lighting behind it, of course, because, you gotta have that, right? And boy, it fits that spot perfect, huh? I was scouring Amazon. I took the measurements of this space. I was like, I want to find something that fits perfectly underneath the Tomb Raider shrine. And that will be big enough to fit all that stuff that I had behind me over here so that I have room for the pinball machine. And guys, I think it worked out really well. What do you think? Do you like it? Yeah, I'm super happy with it. So why don't I go ahead and here, I'll go around and kind of give you guys the full effect here. So normally I turn this light here blue, and you can see I've got the little spiral light there, and then I've got the laser projector behind the CRT, and then I always keep it red over here, and then blue up here. So it's kind of blue and red is the vibe. And then let's see, oh, I got to turn on the laser light projector, so let me do that and I'll be right back with you. All right, and just like that, there we go. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So this is kind of how I normally have it in here. I got these blackout curtains to kind of keep the sunlight out so I can have this full atmosphere going on here. And I think it's a big improvement. I really like it. It's a vibe down here. And once there's a pinball machine down here, this room will be complete. And I'm looking forward to that, guys. I'll definitely, I'll do the full RGB on the pinball machine as well. So that thing will be a little showpiece shining right there. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for upgrades to the game room for a while. I've kind of, between the upstairs room and the downstairs room, that's been my big focus. I haven't even really been buying games for the last, I don't know, 2 months or so because I've been spending all my fun money on the game rooms. And I think I'm going to take a nice little break and just enjoy the spaces the way they are for a good while now. So that is it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm posting new videos every Wednesday at 7. You can count on that. And then there's a community Discord, the Dragon's Lair, where you can hang out when I'm not posting videos on YouTube. I'm live streaming on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday with all retro games on this CRT television at COE33 on Twitch. Love to see you over there. And that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, bye.